Welcome everyone to this CELPIP Listening Part 5 video discussion analysis. Now I'm just here in the CELPIP library in the Listening Part 5 section. And before I get started, I want to remind you that Listening Part 5 focuses more on CLB 7+. What does that mean? Well, that means that if you need to get a higher score on the CELPIP, 7 or higher, then you need to do much better in this part because part 1, 2, 3, and 4, they will be easier for you, but part 5 and 6 will be more difficult. And higher levels need to do better in part 5 and 6 to get higher scores, okay? Now, if you need CLB 4, 5, or 6, then this part will be more difficult and the questions will be more difficult, so it could be more difficult to get correct answers in this part. And CLB 4, 5, and 6, you need to do better in part 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? So yes, the video discussion will be a more complex topic, okay? And the questions will be more difficult. And so, higher levels, you need to focus on trying to get high scores in this part, okay? And then I want to remind you about the Listening Part 5 video discussion tips and strategies video, okay? Now that video will give you some more information about just some strategies that you can use for listening part 5, some tips that we can use to answer the questions more easily, and what information we should focus on, and some of the tips and strategies that I will be using in this part. And I'm going to give you a few of those in this video too. But if you want a more in-depth analysis of tips and strategies, then I will leave a link in the description box to that video. Okay? So let's look at today's volume sample, volume 10, Marketing a Club. Okay. So then I'm here in the front page of today's lesson sample, and you will see that it says there are 6 sections in this sample. Okay, the video analysis, which you're watching now. Then there's some vocabulary building. Okay, vocabulary building exercises are really great to improve our vocabulary. Now, this is a word list of vocabulary that you will hear in this listening. Okay, yeah. You will hear this vocabulary and then some basic meanings, some synonyms, and some antonyms. So you should study the word list. And then there's this great exercise where you read the sentence. New employees should focus on working hard without their earnings. And then you need to think of one word that could go in there from maybe calculating, one word that can go there from the word list. Let's see, new employees should focus on working without calculating their earnings. So you have that, you put that word in there, and then afterwards you submit, you check, and look, oh, I got it correct, but I only got 7%. I need to try to get at least 70%. Very great exercise to help you build your vocabulary, and then you should do all the sentences, everyone. Very good exercise. And then we also have some comprehension building. Okay, comprehension building is a great exercise to help you improve your listening and comprehensive skills. You listen to something.
New season, new schedule, more work, less money.
So you heard that, and then you need to decide, Which one has the same meaning? A, B, neither A nor B, or both A and B? Wow, that's a really great exercise to build your comprehension. Strongly recommend that. Okay, and then we have the following dialogue. This will be the dialogue from the video we hear, and also you follow along, and then you should put a word that you hear in there. Great for building your dialogue skills or following dialogue. And also you have the script there. Okay, very good exercise as well. And then we have test practice 1, which we are going to do today. And then you have a test practice 2, which is a review. So great practice, everyone, to help you improve your listening skills. And this lesson sample page will be in the link in the description box. Okay, so you will get that after the analysis. Okay, so now let's get started with today's analysis. Okay, everyone, so here we are, and it's a video discussion. We have our video, and after the video, we have our 8 questions, okay? All right, I'm just gonna start over again. Now, first, before we get started, I do want to give you some important listening tips, okay? So, the first thing about listening part 3, the first tip, which is important about listening part 5, is that in this discussion, we usually have 3 speakers. Here's one, and you can see here's another one, and you can see here's another one. Usually 3 speakers in the video, okay? And now, everyone, most of the time they tell you who the speakers are, okay? They can tell you names. Sometimes they don't. So if they don't tell you the names, I think this one they don't, we have to remember about the characters, okay? We have to remember something about this character. We have to remember something about her, and we need to remember something about him. It could be what they're wearing, what they look like, their age, okay? And that's important. That's the first thing. We have 3 characters, and we need to keep in mind who they are and also what their position could be. Maybe manager, maybe director, maybe leader, team leader. We need to try to keep that in mind, okay? The second tip that I'm going to give you is that we need to understand what is the overall main idea of the discussion they're having. What is the discussion mainly about? Now, they do tell you at the beginning, they do tell you what, or they may tell you what they are discussing, okay? Usually, the discussion is about something related to work. Can be the work schedule, can be the work managers, can be the shifts, can be the a new rule, okay, a new work policy, maybe something new about the workplace. We need to understand what is the main discussion about. Okay, that's very important. Now, the third tip that I'm going to give you about the video discussion is we need to understand what each person's opinion is about the discussion, okay? We need to understand what each person's opinion is about the discussion. So, for example, so what does she think? What is her point of view about the discussion? What about her back there? What's her main point? And then what about him over here? What does he think about what they are discussing? We need to keep in mind what each person thinks about what they are discussing. Okay? And one thing that we need to look at is, do they agree with each other? Okay. Does he agree with her? And does she agree with him, with her? Agree or disagree? We need to keep that in mind. Or what's something that they all agree with or disagree with? Okay. All right. And then the next tip that I can give you is usually, or sometimes, not always, they make some solutions or some plans to deal with the discussion. Maybe they decide to talk to the manager about it. Maybe they decide to work together to solve the problem. What is the way that they try to deal with their issue? Okay, that's also important. Okay, and now, generally speaking, we also need to focus on full sentences, everyone. We need to try to keep as many full sentences as we can. Remember, we're trying to mainly think about ideas, not just words, so keep that in mind. Okay, we need to listen to full ideas. That's the best way to listen. Okay. And the last tip that I will give you is related to time. Okay. We will have 4 minutes, 4 minutes for 8 questions. And you will have the time here at the bottom. So, everyone, we need to keep that in mind. We can't spend too long on each question. And so we need to try to maybe spend about 30 seconds per question, right? 30 seconds. So 2, 4, 6, 8, exactly. 30 seconds is 4 minutes. Okay, some questions are longer than others. And if the answers are longer, then maybe we should try to do the shorter ones first. But I feel like the main thing is just to keep track of time and not spend too much time on one question, okay? Sometimes if you don't remember, you can skip the question and go to the next one. But definitely, everyone, keeping track of time is something important. All right, and then the last part is about vocabulary. Everyone, sometimes there could be a word that we're not sure about, or sometimes there's a word that we think we heard, but we're not sure if that's the answer. Let me tell you something. Lower levels, they usually choose the answers with the word they remember. But we need to ask something very important. Okay? We need to remember something. Firstly, this is not a vocabulary test or a word you heard test. No, it's not a word you heard test. This is an idea test. It's a listening test. So we need to remember ideas, not only words. So keep that in mind. And the best way to avoid choosing words is to try to make word connections. Maybe you remember the word displeased, but did you remember displeased about job duties? Or was it displeased with her schedule? Displeased with the manager? So, this is what I mean. Try to keep word connections, not just one word. That will really help you out. Okay? And then lastly, everyone, don't forget that we need to make sure we understand the questions. Who are they asking the question about? This is where a lot of students make mistakes. See, here's about the younger woman, here's about the older woman. You see, here's about the man. Like I said, what do the man and older woman agree on? So, we need to remember those things. We need to remember what each person thinks to choose the correct answer. Some answers are about the other person, not the one that we need to focus on. Okay? So make sure that you think first who is the question about? And try to remember what their ideas were. Okay, and then of course, everyone, taking notes are very useful for this part. I do remember that, or I do think that listening and repeating as much information is very important. Listening and repeating in your mind. This will give you some mental notes. Mental notes are important. But at the same time, we should or we could take some notes, and that will be beneficial for us. Okay? But if we take notes, make sure we don't take long notes because that will distract us from the listening. We need to focus on the listening, not our note taking. Okay? Very important. So then, everyone, keep those tips in mind. And now let's get started with today's analysis. And we will be doing test practice number 1. So everyone, I do want to remind you that I am going to be giving you a chance to do this on your own first. I will let you watch the video, and then after the video, I will be showing you the answer so we can do it question by question. And then after, we will analyze it, okay? So then, let's get started with the video.
You will watch a discussion among 3 people. 1 man, Fred, and 2 women, Audrey and Janesh. They are coaches at a gymnastics club.
So, Audrey, Janesh, any thoughts about whether we should go with the parade float or the exhibition? The parade's not for another month, but we need to make up our minds by the end of the week.
I have some serious concerns about the parade float. A flatbed trailer isn't nearly the same size as the floor our kids usually do their routines on. Plus, there's nothing to stop them from just falling off of the trailer.
Maybe we could put the balance beams on there and they can do their flips and stuff on there. Although, the truck will still be moving.
We could just have them sit there on the mats or on the beams, but I don't think we should put all of our equipment onto the trailer. And if we just have them sit there, that doesn't really show people what we're all about.
Well, I guess they could show off their shiny new gold medals. But I agree. We're a gymnastics club. We should be showing them gymnastics.
Yeah, and if we have the kids just do their simple, easy routines, that'll make us look pretty pathetic. We need to show our best stuff.
But hundreds of people go see the parade. If we have an exhibition and no one comes, that defeats our purpose. We need to recover our numbers.
Well, Fred, I think your glory days of the 90s are over. Gymnastics just isn't as popular as it used to be.
Look, maybe we can rent a central location rather than the gym we usually use. Then maybe more people will turn out. Perhaps we could rent a gym at one of the downtown elementary schools.
But then only one school will know about it. What about the high school? They have at least 4 times as many students and they spread the word.
Even better. What about if we did it the same night as parent-teacher interviews? It's on a Monday night, so our gymnasts would be available for sure.
That is a brilliant idea. Once the parents see what our kids can do, parents talk to each other all the time. And parents that have high school-aged kids usually have younger kids as well.
And we can get the media to cover it. I can handle that.
And I'll look into renting the gym. I don't think it'll cost more than the parade entry fee and renting the flatbed trailer.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's get to the questions again. So we have 4 minutes. Okay, so that's about 30 seconds per question. Let's get started with number 1. Okay, now number 2. Okay, now number 3. Okay, now number 4. Okay, now number 5. Okay, now number 6. Okay, now number 7. Okay, now number 8. Okay, now let's have a look at analyzing the answers, okay? So, number 1, what are the coaches deciding? What type of float to use, where to hold or have the parade, the type of exhibition to create, how to promote gymnastics. Okay, well, this could be one that we can look at in the end, but let's find out. So, Audrey, Janesh, any thoughts about whether we should go with the parade float or the exhibition? Oh, which one should we go with? The parade's not for another month, but we need to make up our minds by the end of the week. So, they're trying to decide which one, the parade or the exhibition. I have some serious concerns about the parade float. A flatbed trailer isn't nearly the same size as the floor kids usually do their routines on. Plus, there's nothing to stop them from just falling off the trailer. So definitely not where to hold the parade, because they need to decide exhibition or parade. So also not the type of exhibition, right? And I wouldn't say as well that it's type of float, because they didn't decide. They're talking about the float. So maybe A, but I'm thinking more D. How to promote or advertise. We'll confirm in the end, okay? What does Audrey consider important? They should put the medals in the trailer. They must display their gymnastics. They should limit what they exhibit. They should use a larger float trailer. Okay. Okay. Plus there's nothing. Maybe we could put the balance beams out there and they can do their flips and stuff on there, although the truck will still be moving. We would just have them sit there on the mats and the beams, but I don't think we should put all of our equipment onto the trailer. And it would just have them sit there. That doesn't really show people we are all about. Well, I guess they could show off the shiny new gold medals, but I agree. We're gymnast clubs. We should be showing them gymnastics. Okay. Show them gymnastics. They should put on the medals. They must display or show their gymnastics. Looks like B. Not limit the exhibit and not larger float. So they must show, display, show. Okay. Number 3, why could the parade be more beneficial? Because people enjoy it more, because they could display more gymnastics, because the children could all participate, because it offers more reach. Yeah, and if we have the kids just do the simple, easy routines, that'll make us look pretty pathetic. Like, not good. We need to show our best stuff. But hundreds of people go see the parade. If we have an exhibition and no one comes, that defeats the purpose. We need to recover our numbers. So I think this is the key. Hundreds of people go. I saw an answer like that. Not enjoy it more, not display more. So it looks like more reach. Because it offers more reach means more people will go and see it. Okay. Number 4, what solution does Fred provide for the float? They could have more gymnastic beams. They should use a larger trailer. They could minimize their presentation. The children do shorter routines. So for the float, we think we read that already. We could just have them sit there on the mats or on the beams, but I don't think we should put all of our equipment onto the trailer. And if we just have them sit there, that doesn't really show. But hundreds, we need to recover our numbers. So it looks like it's here. Sit there on the mats or on the beams. Okay. Not more gymnastics. Not use a larger. So minimize the presentation, shorter presentation, shorter routine. So he talks about have them sit there somewhere. So it looks like it's minimize their presentation. So just not show so much. Why does Janesh disagree with the trailer suggestions? Because it shows too much gymnastics, because it limits what they demonstrate, because they cannot have a full float, because they will have less people watch. So disagree with the trailer suggestions. Why? And if we have the kids just do their simple, easy routines, that will make us look pathetic. We need to show our best stuff. So because it won't show enough, looks like that. Not too much. Limits what they demonstrate, I think, so they cannot not full float. So B, because it limits what they can show. That's why she doesn't like it. Why is the exhibition chosen? Sorry, let's read the answers. Because more people will attend, because less people will attend the parade. Because more high school students will attend, because they could show full routines. Should be that one. Look, maybe we can rent a central location rather than the gym we usually use. Then maybe more people are turn out. Perhaps we could rent a gym at one of the downtown elementary schools. But then only one school. What about the high school? Even better if we did the same as parent-teacher interviews. So, doesn't say here, but I think the reason why they're going with it's because they cannot show the full routine on the parade, but they can here. Not more people, not less people, not high school students. So D, they could show full routines. Okay. 7, what do the speakers agree could make the exhibition successful? Children telling their parents, teachers informing the parents, word of mouth, children participating at the event. I think we read that over here. Even better, what about if we did the same that as parent-teacher interviews? So our gymnasts would be available for sure. Once parents see what our kids can do, I mean, parents talk with each other all the time. And parents that have high school age kids usually have younger kids as well. Okay, and we can get the media to cover it. So, looks like word of mouth. Word of mouth means parents talk to each other, or they will talk to each other. So they're talking, that's how more people will know about it. Okay? 8, what could all the coaches agree on? Interest in gymnastics isn't what it used to be. Exhibitions are better marketing strategies. Gymnasts should be included in the parade. Schools should promote gymnasts more frequently. Well, not schools should promote gymnastics more frequently, not about schools. Gymnastics should be included. Not they should be included. This is only they are gymnasts or they are a gymnastics club. So not should be included. Exhibitions are part of maybe or interest in gymnastics. So I would say it's A. That is better. Okay. Now it's true that they're going with an exhibition, but they're going because the parade isn't big enough, the float that they have. So interest in gymnastics isn't what it used to be. And also, I do remember here, right here, Fred, I think your glory days of the 90s are over. So in the 90s, glory days, it was great. But now gymnastics is not what it used to be, not the same, or not as popular as before. Okay. And then, so for number 1, it's, yes, they're trying to promote gymnastics. How can they make it popular again? D, okay. All right, well, it looks like we got everything. Okay, how did you do? Did you get 8 from 8? I hope so. Now, if you didn't get 8 from 8, well, what can we do? Well, the first thing that we can do, for sure, it's review the answers. We should review the questions and the answers, and we should understand why the answer is the answer and why the other answers are not the answers. It's very important to understand this. Why is the answer the answer? Why are the other answers not the answers? And this will really help you build comprehension skills, okay, everyone? So very, very important to understand the answers, okay? And secondly, very important to understand the script, okay? Let's look at the script. Let's review the script. Let's review it and understand the expression. How our idea is expressed. It's very important to understand the expression and the flow and intonation of the video. And also, of course, vocabulary and grammar and ideas. The more that you read the script, the more that you will improve that. Okay, everyone? And so for that, I will be leaving a link in the description box so you can review the script and the test we did. And also, you can do test practice 2. Test practice 2 will be great for improving your comprehension. It's the same video, but version 2, different answers. Okay, everyone? And lastly, everyone, let's not forget about CELPIP Library. Now, CELPIP Library has over 60 examples. That's over 60 videos, everyone. 60, 70 videos. With version 2s, could be even 100 videos. Excellent practice for you to get lots of knowledge, okay, about different discussions and different topics. They're all, and also questions. Great practice, everyone. And with discount code CELPIP79, discount code CELPIP79, you can subscribe to CELPIP Library for a very low price of $10.99. That's a great deal, everyone. 3 months, that's about 90 exams, and there are about 90 exams in the library. 90 listenings, readings, writing, speaking, samples. Okay, so if you're serious about getting 7 or higher or 9 or higher, depending on your level, I strongly recommend you subscribe to CELPIP Library. Okay, so don't forget, everyone, practice makes perfect.